Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at chapter 7, which is modifiers. Modifiers are adjectives and adverbs. We're going to look at the pretest first and foremost. Of the two versions of the film Lost Horizon, I like the 1929 version better or best. Since they're using the comparative degree, they're comparing one to the other, use the comparative degree. In the positive degree, there's 3 degrees of adjectives. There's the positive degree, which would be good, and then the comparative degree, which is better, and then the superlative, or the largest extent, the what stands out the most is the best. Good, better, and best. Since we're comparing two versions, we're going to use the comparative degree, which is better. Okay, when it is raining, people should drive carefuler, which is not a word, by the way, more carefully or more careful. A lot of people would choose this one right here, but let's look at what an adjective and an adverb is. Take a look first and foremost at an adjective. Asks the questions what kind, which one, how much, and how many. And adjectives modify nouns and pronouns. If you said the beautiful weather, you'd say what kind of weather is it? It's beautiful weather, and since you're referring to weather, which is a noun, adjectives modify nouns and pronouns and ask the question what kind, so you would say beautiful. Okay, now as far as adverbs is concerned, they ask the questions how, when, where, to what degree, and to what extent. And adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. And so if I use the word beautiful and I want to convert it to an adverb, which is beautifully, the beautifully decorated room. The beautifully decorated room. How is this room decorated? It's decorated beautifully. And so adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. And decorated is an adjective that it would be describing. So in this particular case, how should I drive? Drive is the key word. Drive is a verb, so I want to make sure that the word that is referring to it is an adverb, because adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. So it'd be more carefully. How should we drive? We should drive more carefully. And this is also the comparative degree as well of the adverb. Number 3, Georgia has the worst unemployment rate in the country. Since it's saying Georgia is worse than anyone else, it's not comparing, it's saying it's the greatest. It's the worst. We're going to use the superlative degree of this adjective. What kind of rate? It's the worst rate in the country. Number 4, Tyler and Ann did an exceptional job or an exceptional job. This is articles A, N, and the, and more specifically with the words A and N. A will come before a word that has a consonant sound, like a dog, a cat, a rat, a mouse. It's A comes before a consonant sound, but use the word and before a vowel sound. An exceptional job. Letter B. Okay, number 5. This sorts or these sorts. There are 4 demonstrative pronouns, which is this, that, these, and those. These and those are pronouns sometimes functioning as adjectives. These and those is considered to be plural and would be used before plural nouns or pronouns. This and that are pronouns that function as adjectives sometimes, and whenever they modify a noun or a pronoun, they modify singular nouns and pronouns. So here it's sorts is the subject, can be is your verb. Since sorts is plural, then the adjective that's referring to the word sorts must be plural as well. So these sorts of meetings can be very productive. Number 6, we couldn't hardly hardly or we could hardly. This is a double negative right here. Couldn't, hardly. Here's two negatives right next to each other. So we are going to avoid the double negatives and say we could hardly, letter B is your correct answer. We could hardly believe the news to avoid that double negative. If you did good or well in the interview, you will be hired. How did you do? You did well. So we need the adverb well to modify the verb did. How did you do? You did well. How is an adverb, and adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. So the adverb well modifies did. I'll go one step further. Good, the word good is always an adjective. No. Let me back up a little bit. Sometimes it can be a noun. For the common good of the people. Then good is a noun in that particular case. But as far as an adjective or an adverb, good is always going to be an adjective as opposed to an adverb. So the good man focused on whatever. What kind of a man was it? It's a good man. Okay, now the word well can be a noun as well, but as far as adjectives and adverbs are concerned, a well can be an adjective and it can also be an adverb. Whenever you're talking about the performance of an individual, did they do satisfactorily? Then it becomes an adverb and it will modify a verb, adjective, or other adverb as it appears right here. But well can be an adjective when it refers to someone's health. I hope you are feeling well. Use it as an adjective when it's in reference to a person's health. So here it's an adverb as it's modifying the verb did. Number 8, the art world is comparing the 7-year-old with hyphens versus a 7-year-old child without hyphens, protege, to Picasso. Okay, 7-year-old is a temporarily hyphenated word when it comes before the noun or pronoun to which it modifies or to which it refers. So if I said the 7-year-old protege, then since it's a compound adjective before the noun it modifies, hyphenate it. But if I said the protege is 7 years old, if it comes after the noun to which it refers, then you remove the hyphens. That's referred to as a temporarily hyphenated compound adjective. When it comes before, hyphenate it. When it comes after, don't hyphenate it. So it'd be letter A. Okay, then let's go ahead and scroll down to numbers 9 and 10. Okay, United Airlines showed off its newly painted planes after its merger with Continental. Okay, these are what appear to be compound adjectives modifying the noun planes. Here's the exception to the rule. Remember, I just now mentioned that there's sometimes a term called a temporarily hyphenated adjective when it modifies a noun that follows, and then you don't hyphenate it if it comes afterwards. There's an exception to the rule, and it's whenever the first one is an adverb that ends with ly. If the first compound adjective has an ly ending word, don't hyphenate it. So letter A is going to be the correct answer because of the word newly. Okay, then Kathleen took less or fewer vacation days. In this particular case, less and fewer are both adjectives modifying the days, and days is plural. Well, the adjective fewer is plural, and the adjective less is singular. If I said one less day, then it would be singular adjective modifying a singular noun, day. But it's fewer days, so fewer, it functions as a plural adjective modifying the plural number of days. Okay. Okay, when to use adjectives. This section right here, it says use adjectives to modify or describe nouns and pronouns. Note particularly that adjectives, not adverbs, should follow linking verbs. Am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been when they're used by themselves. Linking verbs include am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been, and verbs that express the senses such as feels, appears, tastes, sounds, seems, and looks. So in this particular case right here, this cheesecake tastes delicious. Okay, the word tastes is functioning as a linking verb, and so the word that follows and answers the question what or who, cheesecake tastes what or who? It tastes delicious. So this word delicious is a subject complement that is linked back to the cheesecake because it's a deliciously tasting cheesecake. So this word taste is a linking verb that links the subject to its complement. Now remember that if the verb is an action verb, then the word that answers the question what or who makes it a direct object and it receives the action of the verb instead. Or I feel bad about the loss. Okay, I is your subject. Feel is a linking verb. It's a sense, and it's part of the am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been. And then bad is an adjective that's functioning as a subject complement referring back to the subject of the sentence. So I would never say I feel badly about what happened. Instead, you feel bad because feel is a sense, and it's considered to be a linking verb, and it links the subject to its complement, bad. So bad is an adjective. Bad is an adjective that refers to the subject or the pronoun I. She looks good in her business suit. So she is your subject. Looks, it's just an appearance. So it's a state of being type of verbs that's linking. And so good is an adjective that functions as a complement that complements the subject. So it's also a subject complement as well. Or in this case, a pronoun complement. Okay, when to use adverbs. Adverbs ask the questions how, when, where, to what degree, and to what extent. And they modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. The new product rollout went smooth? No. You cannot use the word smooth. Where did it go? Right here. Cannot use the word smooth right here as an adjective. Because the word smooth, if I said the smooth texture appeared splotchy. That doesn't make any sense at all. But what kind of texture? The smooth texture. Because smooth is modifying the word noun, texture, and adjectives modify nouns and pronouns. But I cannot use the word smooth here at all. Because I can go, how did it go? It went smoothly. So I have to have an adverb to modify the verb go. Go, went, go, gone, and went. Okay, Anaya dressed professional or professionally for her job. I cannot say the word professional because I could say professional appearance and then professional would be an adjective. But since I can say here, how did she dress? And it modifies the verb dress, I must use an adverb that is professionally. So note the difference of when to use adjectives versus adverbs. And you can see how they can be easily interchanged but incorrectly. So I feel bad or I feel badly. You would feel bad because you need an adjective to follow a linking verb. Alrighty, let's go ahead and take a look at the next section. And that would be the comparative or the superlative degree. We've already looked at that in the pretest. In the positive, you have the word new, newer, and newest. So this is the positive degree of the adjective new, quiet, happy, and useful. But with the comparative degree, it's newer, and then the superlative is the newest. Quiet, quieter, and quietest. Happy, happier, and happiest. Now with the word useful, you're going to go to more or less useful or most or least useful, depending on which degree you're using. Advantageous could be the more or less advantageous or the most or the least advantageous. Okay, so here's an example of this. Sales are, okay, start with sales are unusually high. That's in the positive degree. There's nothing unique that we need to do with the word high in this particular case. Now, sales are higher than ever before. You're comparing sales this year to other years. Sales are the highest in years. That's the greatest degree. So we'll use the superlative highest. Oh, and as far as the more and less, let's look. The new process is efficient in the positive. The new process is more or less efficient than our previous one. It's in the comparative here. Or the new process is the most or the least efficient one possible in the greatest degree. Adverbs do the same thing. By the way, the word fast can be an adjective as well. It can be a noun. It can be a verb. It can be multiple parts of speech. But as an adverb, it would be fast, faster, or fastest. Early, earlier, or earliest. Neatly, more or less neatly, or most or least neatly. Okay, here's some examples. He drives carefully. How does he drive? So to ask the question how, when, where, to what degree, and adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. So it's carefully in the positive degree. Now, how does he drive here? He drives more or less carefully now than what he used to, so it's comparing now to the past. So we still use the adverb carefully to modify the verb drives, and it's more or less carefully now. And then, in the greatest degree, he drives most or least carefully when at night. And so it's the superlative degree that we use in that particular case. Articles. Use the word and before words that begin with vowel sounds. For example, let's say an office, an operator, understudy, an understudy. So it's a vowel sound. Use the word and before vowel sounds. Use the word a before consonant sounds like a shop, a plan, a hook, a hole. Demonstrative pronouns on the next page. This, that, these, and those are the most common. But the key thing to remember about this, that, these, and those is that this and that are considered to be singular pronouns functioning as adjectives, and they will modify adjectives that are singular. But these and those, when they function as adjectives, make sure that they modify plural nouns. So this would be completely incorrect. Job interviewees should be prepared for these type of behavioral questions. What kind of type? This type. It would be this type or that type, but not these. That's completely incorrect. So it could be this type or these types. This, that will go with a singular noun. These and those will go with a plural noun. Okay, compound adjectives. Notice these are words that are temporarily hyphenated before a noun, like a well-educated workforce, a 300-page book, an 8-story building, state-sponsored program, a case-by-case analysis, follow-up appointment, income-related expenses. What kind of, which child? A 6-year-old child. What kind of a business? A home-based business. So whenever the compound adjective modifies a noun or a pronoun and it comes before, my recommendation is to look it up in a dictionary. And whenever you look up the word, for example, follow-up appointment, you look up the word follow-up. If the dictionary does not include an entry for follow-up, that means it's a temporarily hyphenated group of words that can that you would hyphenate before the noun or pronoun that it modifies. But if it comes after, then you will not, if the dictionary does not have an entry for it. So here is an appointment to follow up. No hyphenation. Look at the 8-story building, a building of 8 stories. So if the word that it's referring to comes after, then it's not hyphenated. When you're dealing with temporarily hyphenated adjectives appearing before a noun, and when those those same adjectives are modifying the noun, they come after, they're not hyphenated. A 300-page book versus a book with 300 pages. So at the bottom of the page, it says, compound adjectives shown in your dictionary with hyphens are considered permanently hyphenated, and that's on the next page. Regardless of whether the compound adjective appears before or after a noun, it retains the hyphens. Use a current dictionary or reference manual to determine what expressions are always hyphenated. Here are some. These are permanently hyphenated nouns. So you would go to a dictionary and find the word time-consuming, and it will show that word as a hyphenated word, meaning that you hyphenate it regardless of where it appears in your sentence. So a time-consuming job is a hyphenated as its compound adjective modifying a noun, and because it does appear in the dictionary with hyphens, then you would also place it after the noun to which it refers. A job that is time-consuming. It's hyphenated right there because it's considered to be permanently hyphenated adjectives. Now some of those have lost their hyphens over the years, such as a high school student. It's no longer hyphenated, or income tax preparation. Those are no longer hyphenated because of the familiarity we have with those particular phrases, and more of those will appear in the future. Now, whenever you have several words that are used to modify a noun, and instead of, for example, it would be awkward for me to say several 3-bedroom homes and 4-bedroom homes are available for sale. So they went ahead and they hyphenated these right here to describe the 3 or 4-bedroom homes, because these both are modifying the noun homes. They just eliminate some of the words and put 3- and 4- bedroom in order to save a little bit of time and a little bit of space. That's perfectly acceptable. Here, what kind of homes? High-priced ones and low-priced ones. They just didn't want to mention it over and over in order to make it easier for the reader for it to roll off their tongue. We have openings for part-time and full-time. So if you're leaving out words to modify the noun cashiers, that's perfectly acceptable. Don't confuse adverbs ending ly with compound adjectives. For example, her newly decorated office. A lot of people would look at this and say, oh, that should be hyphenated for the word office. Since that first word has an ly ending, get rid of the hyphen. Always, 100% of the time. Highly regarded, the next example that they use there. No hyphen because highly ends with ly. Avoid double negatives. So here is laying off employees won't do no good. Okay, they will do no good, or they won't do any good. Avoid double negatives. We should never say we couldn't hardly believe. First of all, we could hardly believe, or we couldn't believe the breaking news story. Here's another one. Drivers can't barely see. No, you can't. You can barely see. Avoid those double negatives. Or drivers can't see. Avoid this one right here. He didn't have nothing to do with it. He had nothing to do with it, or he didn't have anything to do with it. Avoid double negatives. Okay, the next section are words that are confused that function either as adjectives or adverbs, since that's what this chapter is based upon. The word almost is an adjective meaning nearly, and the word most is also an adjective meaning the greatest in amount. So if you have the word almost, which means nearly, you would not use the word most everyone agreed to something. You would use the word almost, meaning nearly. When it means nearly, use the word almost. And then whenever you have something that's greatest in amount, use most. Most employees. Okay, farther and further, they're both adverbs, and the far, F-A-R, refers to distance, whereas the word further means additionally. So how much farther is the airport in distance? How much farther? We use that particular word incorrectly most of the time. Let's discuss this issue, not farther, but further. Okay, sure and surely. Sure is an adjective, meaning something that's certain. She is sure. So here is the subject. Is a linking verb. So sure is an adjective that's also the subject complement that refers back to the pronoun she. And she is certain, or she is sure that she locked up. Here is surely, meaning undoubtedly. It's an adverb. He will be victorious. So will be, and then this is a complement right here, also functioning as an adjective that refers back to he. He will be victorious. And so this is an adverb, this is an adjective that refers back to the noun or pronoun. Adjectives modify nouns or pronouns, whereas right here, adjectives modify nouns or pronouns as well, but adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Okay, this next one, later and latter. Later today is an adverb that means at a later time or at an expected time. Or latter is the last of two things mentioned. Of the two options, I prefer the latter, meaning the last of two things, or the second of two things. Fewer and less. Fewer is an adjective that modifies plural nouns. Scoot that over. Fewer requests. So a plural adjective modifying a plural noun. Less time. Time is singular, so we're going to use the word less as an adjective to modify a singular noun. Okay, here's on the next page is real and really. Real is an adjective, whereas really is an adverb. The real power. What kind of power? It's the real power, so real is an adjective modifying the noun power. It means actual or genuine. The word really is an adverb, means actually or true. Gretchen is eager. It's an adjective, also a complement that refers back to Gretchen, meaning eager Gretchen is ready to take her vacation. She's eager to do so. So it describes Gretchen's condition. She's eager. Follows a linking verb. And then good and well. I mentioned earlier that both of those could be nouns for the common good, or I have a water well. They can be nouns. But whenever you're considering between an adjective and an adverb, the word good is an adjective meaning desirable. What kind of a candidate? A good candidate. Here, well can be function as an adverb or as an adjective. Adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. So this particular word well modifies the verb did. How did Brooke do? She did well. So well is an adverb that modifies the verb did, meaning satisfactory. But it can also be used as an adjective meaning healthy. So now the word well follows a linking verb feels. Jamal feels well as an adjective that functions as a complement that refers back to Jamal. Okay, here are some illogical uses of words. Sometimes we need to add the word only or other or something to that effect. Here we have Rhode Island is smaller than any state in the United States. We need to add the word than any other state because it's not smaller than itself, it's smaller than any other state. So the word other is an adjective to modify which state? Any other state. The next one, this is illogical as well. Our team had better results than any team in the league, or whatever it says next, in the company, meaning it had better results than itself. So it should be than any other team in the company. Alex works harder than anyone in the office. He works harder than anyone else. He doesn't work harder than himself. He works harder than anyone else. So make sure that you include those adjectives that are necessary to complete the meaning of the message. The word only, this is probably one of the most misused adverbs in our business communication courses. The word only can really misconstrue what the only is really referencing. As you can see here, it can reference three different parts. Only Kathy, she's the only one that can do this. Only Kathy can convince her boss. So it's properly positioned right here, and I wouldn't want to place it any other place because I want to make sure that Kathy is the only one that can convince the boss. Here, Kathy McPherson can only convince the boss. She can't do anything else. She can only convince the boss. Kathy McPherson convinced only the boss. This is probably where it should be most correctly, or where it would be most commonly used, because that's the boss, is the real reference of where only is trying to modify. Here's some other words. Seats in the first 5 rows. Put the word first before the word 5, as they illustrated right there. Our stock price has risen nearly 40%. Transpose those words in that particular case. Okay, now let's take a look at the FAQs at the end of the chapter. First one is, should you hyphenate 25%? And the answer is no, but the word percent should always be spelled out as a word in business writing. Don't ever forget that. Now, if you're talking about loans, like I have a 15-year loan, then you hyphenate it. But if you said a loan that is 15 years old, since the compound adjective comes after, in that case you would not hyphenate it. Okay, why does the sign above the grocery store's quick check stand say 10 or less items? Is that correct? No. Items is plural, so it should be 10 or fewer items. They're just probably trying to save characters, but it's not correct. Next one is, how many hyphens should I use in this sentence? The 3, 4, and 5-year plans. Since these are temporarily hyphenated compound adjectives, you would put 3 hyphen, 4 hyphen, and 5-year plans. You'd need 3 hyphens there. Okay, I can't remember how to spell already. I want to use it in this sentence. Your account has already been credited with your payment. Okay, in this particular case, it means previously already is spelled out, and it is correctly used in this particular example. Let's see, the word are expressed essentially by the same sounds. The adverb already is one word, means previously or before this time, as in your sentence, which is correct. The 2-word combination already means all prepared, as in the club members are all ready or all completely ready. If you can insert the word completely in between all and ready, then it's probably 2 words. Are you all completely ready to board the bus? Okay, this next one is, here are some expressions that cause us trouble in our business messages. We want to hyphenate all of the following, right? Well, Produce, play, that's good. Yes, you would do. You would hyphenate that one. Awareness, generation, film, you would hyphenate that one. It's a compound adjective. Decision-making tables, absolutely, hyphenate that one. A one-paragraph note, there's no problem with that, hyphenate that one. Swearing-in ceremony, I would do that as well. A point-by-point analysis, I would hyphenate those. And commonly used book, no, because remember this one ends with an ly. Get rid of the hyphen for this one only. Is this a double negative? We can't schedule the meeting because we have no room available. Absolutely not. If I said we can't hardly schedule this room, then it would be a double negative. But because these two negative words are separated, it's not considered to be a double negative. Okay, the word, I can never seem to keep the word desert, desert, straight. When do I use each? Okay, the word desert, D-E-S-E-R-T, can be used as a noun or as a verb. And they're spelled, or they're pronounced differently between the noun and the verb. If I'm talking about spent time in an arid desert, as that noun, you'd spell it D-E-S-E-R-T, and it's desert. But as a verb, did he desert our troops? Did he desert our troops? Still D-E-S-E-R-T as a verb. But the word desert is always a noun meaning food. D-E-S-S-E-R-T. Okay, what's the difference between a while and a while? A while is one word, is an adverb meaning for a period of time. So we sat for a period of time or a while to rest our feet. As two words, a while is a noun phrase with a serving as an article to describe the noun while. I have been searching for a while. Generally, whenever a for phrase follows a while, you want the word a while to be two words. Currently, it's part of a prepositional phrase. So it's the object of a preposition. Therefore, it would not function as an adverb and should be two words in that case. Okay, this one's a tough one for me. One of my favorite words is hopefully, but I understand that it is often used improperly. And it is, and I don't see why, but they did say language purists. Those are the hard-nosed language experts that insist that the word hopefully be used to modify a verb. We looked at the door hopefully. Well, how did you look at it? You looked at it hopefully, so that's correct. And then the word hopefully should not be used as a substitute for the words I hope that or we hope that. Instead of saying, hopefully interest rates will decline, one should say, I hope that interest rates will decline. Boy, they're really getting picky there. All together as two words or all together as one word. If you can insert the word completely between the words all together, then it's two words. Otherwise, it's one word. Altogether or as a whole. We spent $400 on our vacation, and that's with one word. But the committee members were all completely together in the room. So here I'm able to insert the word completely between the two words, making it two words. Okay, this concludes chapter 7, focusing on adjectives and adverbs. Adjectives modify nouns and pronouns only and ask the questions, what kind, which one, how much, and how many. Adverbs, on the other hand, ask the questions how, when, where, to what degree, and to what extent, and they modify verbs, adverbs, and adjectives. If you recognize the definition of an adjective and an adverb, you should have little to no problems with the exercises in this particular chapter. Complete the reinforcement exercises now.